Hey folks, well, I'm finally getting a chance to do a video I wanted to get to for quite some time. It's July 4th, we're here by the Hudson River on the west side of the south end of Manhattan. We finished making a video of a fireworks display, at which point I said we were by the East River, which was a mistake. I had a little one too many. This isn't the only bottle of wine. We threw out all the other empty ones, so if I have any if not quite excuse, then at least explanation to me are cool, but there you have it. Be that as it may, I decided to do a comparison video about two cigars that happen to be favorites of mine and quite possibly favorites of yours. If you haven't tried them yet, they might become that. It's the Fonseca Vintage Churchill, about which I have a separate video, and the Fonseca Habana Cosaco. That's a Cuban cigar. Now I'm not going to go through smoking the Fonseca Churchill, which is a 7x50 cigar, and as I said in the other review, it's medium-bodied, Connecticut shade wrapper. It's aged for 5 years. It's an excellent cigar. I mean, some people think of it as light, sometimes it's a little bit medium-bodied, but it's basically an all-day smoke. It's something you can have at night, and it's something you can have for breakfast with a cup of coffee, provided you're one of those early morning smokers. But this Fonseca here tastes quite different. First, it's notable that it's a Cosaco size, and unlike the Dominican, which is 7x50, this one is about 5.5 by 42, I believe. And it also comes in a paper, well, it's not the wrapper of the cigar, it's the packaging of the cigar. I'm going to remove the ring, and the tissue-like paper. I already took the liberty of cutting it, that I have from my cutter from the Soho Cigar Bar, which is on 32 Watt Street, but we're not there today. We're thinking of going to a cigar bar to do this review, but since there's so many checkpoints in the city, I don't mean even for drinking, just basically everything is held up, gums slowed down. I'm going to do a review of this cigar. First and foremost, I'll say it's very well wrapped, you know, tight, hard smoke. Even though it's not very large, it's probably going to smoke longer than one would assume. And it's a very light wrapper. I'm going to light it up right now and tell you my first impressions of it, so wish me luck. It's actually very good. I've had these, but I haven't had one in a while. I normally use Spanish cedar to light these up. And this particular cigar is quite old because I brought it with me when I came back from Russia the first time, I believe in 2001. So being that it's 2017, the cigar is 16 years old. It was well stored. It has no plume or moss on it. It's still quite fresh, and it actually outlasted my last marriage, so yeah, the cigars lasted quite longer than family contracts. But my first impressions are, it tastes a little different, me having smoked it all this time later. It has a bit of an earthy flavor, but not quite like Mexican cigars, because there's a peculiarity, or idiosyncrasy, about Cuban cigars that they come from a soil with a very high copper content, and I'm going to have a separate video. What is it about Cuban cigars that makes them Cuban? Well, yes, they come from Cuba, but what is it about Cuban soil that makes them different? And I know that different cigar brands are different and that there are certain changes from crop to crop even within a single brand. But what it is about Cuban cigars is there's a very high copper content in the soil, and that gives the cigars a very specific flavor. It's hard to put your finger on it, but once you've tasted one and then you taste another Cuban cigar, you'll know it. Be that as it may, the Cuban Fonseca is very different than the Dominican Fonseca, and I would say it has a stronger flavor, which doesn't make the Dominican Fonseca worse. It's just a very different cigar. Even visually, they're quite different. I guess size-wise, maybe it's comparing the larger one to Ghost and the smaller one to me. No? Tom, I'm sorry. Okay, the larger one to me and the smaller one to you. She's the one making this video of me smoking this. But be that as it may, it's a very well rolled cigar. It has a medium-bodied flavor which connotes a little bit a woody, earthy, nutty kind of flavor, to use some more cliche terms. But above all, it has a certain kind of aroma that's present in a lot of upper-end Cuban cigars. And not all Cuban cigars are upper-end. And that makes it quite a good smoke. I'm going to have a sip of wine with it, but it's not to say some good cognac or whiskey wouldn't go with it quite well. This is also one of our favorite wines, the rose grapefruit. And actually, they did combine rose and grapefruit flavors quite well. Would you like to take a drag?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Be that as it may, guys, it's a little bit of an offbeat review. Again, we didn't do it over at the Carnegie Cigar Bar, nor Soho, where we've done our cigar reviews in the past. But I think it's an excellent smoke. And if you ever have the chance to get your hands on a Fonseca Casaco-sized Cuban cigar, you definitely should do it. So my review for it is definitely a thumbs up, or even 2 thumbs up. If you want, one you may want to try. Again, Dominican Fonseca versus Cuban Fonseca, very different looking, very different flavored, but both kick-ass cigars. Take care. I hope the review was of some use to you, and have a happy 4th of July.
If you like the video, subscribe, like, or comment.
Take care. You heard it here first. Have a good one.